Let's start the lecture on balance of payment. So starting the lecture on balance of payment. What is balance of payment? If you go through this, the balance of payment is a statement which records all the monetary transactions made. Okay, so I'm writing this. We can understand by this statement that in a given time period, if there is a monetary transaction made between the home country, that is say India, and rest of the world, आमतौर पर एक देश और दूसरे और बाकी दुनिया भर के देशों के बीच जो बही खाता है, दैट इज़ एक्चुअली द बैलेंस ऑफ पेमेंट where it is recorded. And the balance of payment can be defined as the statistical record of a country. Okay, so you can also term this a statistical record. Now these statistics are not about the population or about the inflation or about other things, but this is about the international transactions. Okay, so statistical records of a country's international transactions over a certain period. Every time you have to add over this certain period of time, क्योंकि एक साल का हम बनाते हैं जनरली आमतौर पर बैलेंस ऑफ पेमेंट, या एक फाइनेंशियल ईयर का आप कह सकते हैं. सो वो एक साल, दैट पर्टिकुलर थिंग नीड टू बी अंडरस्टूड, सो इन अ पर्टिकुलर टाइम पीरियड. ओके, and BOP is similar to the double entry system also. Double entry system of accounting. जैसे डबल एंट्री सिस्टम में आप जानते हैं कि दोनों तरफ हम डेबिट और क्रेडिट करते हैं एंड दोनों बैलेंस्ड होता है. ठीक उसी तरह बैलेंस ऑफ पेमेंट भी डबल एंट्री सिस्टम ऑफ अकाउंटिंग को फॉलो करता है, जहाँ पे डेबिट एंट्री है और क्रेडिट एंट्री है. जो पैसे आ रहे हैं हम उन सबको रिसिप्ट साइड में लिखते हैं और जो पैसे जा रहे हैं उसको पेमेंट साइड में लिखते हैं, और जो भी इन दोनों का डिफरेंस होता है वो होता है बैलेंस ऑफ पेमेंट. सो बैलेंस ऑफ पेमेंट कुड बी द ज़ीरो, पॉजिटिव और नेगेटिव. आमतौर पर ये पॉजिटिव नेगेटिव रहता है, ज़ीरो कभी होता नहीं है. ओके, सो और इसको और क्या दे सकते हैं, इट इज़ अ अकाउंटिंग ऑफ ऑल द फाइनेंशियल इनफ्लोज एंड आउटफ्लोज ऑफ अ कंट्री, ऑफ अ नेशन. ठीक है, तो इसको मैं लिखता हूँ फाइनेंशियल इनफ्लोज एंड आउटफ्लोज of a nation. Financial inflows and outflows of a nation. You can add this also. Okay, so why the balance of payment is a vital thing for any country. So BOP actually, balance of payment को ही मैं कह रहा हूँ, BOP actually reveals the financial and economic status of a nation. So it defines, it is a mirror of financial and economic status. ठीक है. और क्यों ज़रूरी है फाइनेंशियल एंड इकोनॉमिक स्टेटस? बिकॉज वॉट एवर वी ट्रेड, हम जो भी लेन देन करते हैं, एक्सपोर्ट इंपोर्ट करते हैं, हम उसको बैलेंस ऑफ पेमेंट में रिकॉर्ड करते हैं. हम किसी भी कंट्री को हेल्प करते हैं या किसी कंट्री से हेल्प लेते हैं, हम उसको बैलेंस ऑफ पेमेंट में रिकॉर्ड करते हैं. देन किसी भी तरह के ऑफिशियल सेटलमेंट्स हम करते हैं, है ना, हम कोई लोन, पुराना लोन चुका रहे हैं या नया लोन ले रहे हैं, हेल्प के अलग मैं कह रहा हूँ, लोन का अलग कह रहा हूँ, तो अगेन वहाँ पर भी हम बैलेंस ऑफ पेमेंट में रिकॉर्ड करते हैं. FDIs को हम बैलेंस ऑफ पेमेंट में रिकॉर्ड करते हैं. अगर आप इन सारी चीज़ों उसको बैलेंस ऑफ पेमेंट में रिकॉर्ड करते हैं तो इससे बैलेंस ऑफ पेमेंट की एंट्री आपके देश की फाइनेंशियल एंड इकोनॉमिक स्टेटस को एक्सप्लेन करता है. Okay, BOP statement can be used as an indicator to determine whether country's currency value is appreciating or depreciating. Okay, so with the BOP we can understand this also, how if the balance of payment is majorly, if the balance of payment is always positive, means you are getting more of receipts and you are making less payments every time. If it is a positive, if it is favorable, then we can say that our currency is appreciating, the value is appreciating. Why? So it is going, it is becoming strong and strong. Why? So because we are doing transaction with the world where we are less demanding their products and we are more supplying our products, or or we are extending our help, or we are extending our capital for them. So it defines that our currency is a strong one. On the other hand, if you are making more import, then definitely you are demanding more foreign currency, which leads to the depreciation of your home currency. Okay, so with the BOP we can also understand the currency value, whether it is appreciating or depreciating. Now BOP statement also help the government to decide on fiscal and trade policies. Okay, so it is important for fiscal and trade policy. It is very important. Why so? Because if our BOP is unfavorable, if it is of negative, then government may revise the trade policy. Like in India, we give subsidies to our agricultural partners. Why so? All the farmers or all the exporters who export the agricultural goods. Why so? In order to promote trade of agricultural export, our government give trade subsidies. Okay, so trade policy is there. Fiscal policy, government decides how much tax deductions or custom duties should be increased or decreased on the foreign goods, so that we can reduce the foreign imports in India, and we can hence make the BOP favorable to the India. So it also help government to decide the policies. It next thing is, it provide important information to analyze and understand the economic dealings of a country with other country. Okay, so these are the five important reasons, four important reasons are the components of balance of payment. Okay, components of balance of payment. One by one, what is current account and then capital account. Okay, so let's start with the current account. So what is current account? What is current account? If you go through this concept, current account, so the current account on the balance of payment, it measures the inflows and outflow of goods, services, investment incomes, and unilateral transfer payments. Everything which is going to happen now, that is recorded in current account. Okay, so let's, all these things is being recorded in current account. Under current account, again there is a first part, so let me say it 1A. Now all the movable and physical items, okay, is termed as trade in goods. Trade in goods means a change of ownership from resident to non-resident and vice versa. If you are doing export, it is changing ownership from here to there, and if you are importing something, the ownership is being transferred to non-resident, that is foreign country, to us. So an export is marked as a credit, money coming in, and import is noted as a debit, money going out. Okay, so let me now similarly trade in services. Trade in services, the transaction includes an intangibles actions. Okay, so if anything, money which is paid or received for the service, it is recorded as an intangible actions. Okay, so all these things will be recorded in trade in services. Okay, all the intangible invisible items. Okay, and similarly all the receipts are the part of credit, and all the payments are the part of debit. Okay, write down net factor receipts. Income received. Okay, let's take an example for, say, when Mr. X from India is received rent from the USA, then it is credit entry in India's BOP account, while the rent is paid to USA. If anyone living here, okay, if they pay the rent to USA, then it is in debit side of our entry in India's BOP. So net factor receipts. Unilateral payments, unilateral transfers. What is unilateral? Now till now we have seen everything for where there is something we are exchanging for. In the case of goods, we are exchanging goods. If we are getting payment or we are receiving the payment, in both the cases we are exchanging something. In the case of services, again we are exchanging something. In the case of net factor receipts, again we are exchanging some. But in case of unilateral transfer, there is no exchange of something for money. It is kind of help that we are extending to others, gifts, donations. Okay, so where there is a transfer of money or goods and services. Now goods and services, if I am saying, this is also a kind of gift or international aid at the time of any mishappening, when we transfer something to any country and extending the help, or we are receiving the help in the form of goods, in the form of services. Say doctors are coming in, going out, or the food products is going in or going out. In these cases we are transferring the goods and services, and which is not a part of export and import, which is a part of help, international aid. So that is recorded in the unilateral transfer. Okay, and by summing all these four things, this is a total of current account. So you can write the current account is sum of all the four things. No, so we must write it as we have receipts and we have payments. So what is the current account? Current account compiles the both receipts and payments. So all the balance of trade in the form of export and import and of goods as well as services. So balance of trade in goods and services plus net factor receipts plus unilateral transfers. Now if the current account indicates some surplus, now all the things is recorded in the receipt side and all the things is recorded in payment side. If the receipts are more and payment is less, so we are getting more of, okay, so we are in the surplus. And if we are paying more and receiving less, then we are in deficit. So current account surplus indicates that country's assets have grown over the period, whereas current account deficit indicate that country's liabilities have grown, increased over the period. Okay, so this is what a current account deficit and current account surplus, that you have sometime you have definitely heard it about during any news or any kind of economic discussions. Now let's discuss the important part is known as balance of trade. As the term suggests, the balance of trade is the difference between the monetary value of nations export and import over a certain period. Only we are interested about the trade, that trade part. No help, no unilateral transfers, no any kind of whatever we have discussed, the net factor receipts, that is remittances or salaries that we are getting. No, we are discussing only about export and import, that's all. Okay. It actually defines the all the goods and services that we export are this and defines how much productive our country is and how much we are supplying goods to other nations, and this how much wealth we are adding to. All the developed countries having a trade balance positive, they are making more of export and they are making more less of import, whereas developing and underdeveloped countries having negative trade balance because they do more import and they have less export. So on the basis of nature of transaction, if you look at nature of so BOT only record the trade value, ठीक है, whereas यहाँ पे all transactions other than trade also. Okay, now I am writing this in a shortcut manner, but you have to explain this, that BOT considers all transactions concerning trade of goods only. Okay, whereas balance of payment record all transactions concerning goods, services, capital transfer, everything. Okay, now capital transaction, if you look at, so no, capital transaction is not recorded in this part because this is a part of current account. Capital account is totally different. So it is, you can write it, transaction of capital nature are not included in balance of trade. I am writing in shortcut not, but you need to write transaction of capital nature are not included in BOT. At here, yes. So transaction of capital nature are also recorded in balance of payment. Okay, mutual relation. And why it is important to discuss balance of trade and balance of payment, because many times in a layman terms or in a general discussion we use BOT, balance of trade, and balance of payment as a synonyms to each other, okay, which is wrong. So in that case we need to understand the basis, the difference of balance of trade and balance of payment is entire account of one country to the rest of the world, whereas balance of trade is the only part which record the trade part, not the other things. So balance of trade is the inherent part of balance of payment, whereas balance of payment is a broader concept, okay, that we need to understand. Now what are the mutual relation between these two? When now let's discuss the part favorable, and then I will make you understand about BOT and BOP. See, in the older days, when during the mercantile economy, where the things are being traded between nations and traded in exchange of gold only. Okay, so let's say I am in a country, say A, and I am doing trade with country B. So during our trade, at the end of the year, the total liability upon me is, say, of 10 gold, that I have to pay 10 gold, and the country B have to pay me 12 gold. So this is the favorable condition, no? I have to pay 10 and he have to pay 12. So at the end of year he will pay me 2 gold only. Okay, so their terminologies is favorable, that we have done trade, and this trade is favorable to country A because the country A is need to pay only 10 gold, whereas country B need to pay 12 gold. So it is favorable to country A because country A is receiving 2 gold after the end of the financial year, or after the end of the trade. So it is favorable to country. So this favorable word is taken from that mercantile economy where the things being exchanged for gold, and at the end of the year it has been mathematically calculated that how much we have actually paid and how much we have actually received from a particular country. Still we are using the term favorable. Okay, so favorable is actually have that meaning. So when export of goods are higher, when the import of goods with the so BOT is considered as favorable. So BOT is when net BOP is in surplus, then BOP is considered as favorable. Okay, so this is the basic difference between the balance of trade and balance of payment. So okay, so if in exam it is being asked about the difference between BOP and BOT, then you have to explain this part. So trade surplus and trade deficit I have already make you understand, but let me add on few things. That if a trade surplus is also known as the favorable balance of trade. Some economists believe that a trade surplus create employment and increase GDP growth, whereas some economists believe that unfavorable trade balance cause unemployment. If we are importing more of, then definitely their unemployment situation may arise and it will lower the GDP rate. Okay, so this is also an important discussion that we need to do. Yes, now let's come to capital account. In the capital account, it records all international purchases and sales of asset such as money, stocks, bond. We note that any transaction resulting in a payment to foreigners is entered as a debit and given a negative sign, and any transaction resulting in a receipts from foreigner is entered as a credit in a positive sign. Okay, so write down the credit part, that whatever we receive, okay, that is recorded in receipt side, loan borrowed, selling of asset, foreign securities inflows, everything. And what are the kind of payment, repayment, buying of foreign security or assets. Simply record the transactions where it is coming. If it is going out, then it will have negative sign. If it is coming in, so it is in positive sign. Now a deficit in capital account means that money is flowing out of the country, indicating that the nation is increasing its ownership in foreign assets, and vice versa in case of surplus. So let me write this. Now let's take the example of this statement. Generally underdeveloped countries have a capital account surplus. Why so? Because underdeveloped countries or developing countries receive so much of capital payments from the world, so it have a surplus, which is not a healthy part. but definitely it is a part which will actually help to increase the GDP of a country, because when we are getting wealth of other nation into your nation, then definitely it is in surplus and your nation will flourish from the money of others. But on the other hand, it also increases your future liability. What China have done, China have actually done this. They have deficit capital account, means they receive less and they pay more. So they actually, in case of deficit, what happening, the money is flowing out of the country and indicating that the nation is increasing its ownership in foreign assets, they have done in Sri Lanka, they have done in doing in Bangladesh, they have done in Pakistan, they have done. So deficit capital account is actually a good indicator for in terms of future perspective, whereas surplus capital account is good in terms of current situation, but it somehow increases the future liability. So this is the difference. Okay, now let's say what is capital account, and this is also known as capital account or financial account. Okay, capital account, but many few times financial account is being used. Actually it is a famous word, capital account. Okay, so capital account actually covers all the FDIs, the okay, portfolio investment. All the FDI refers to the long-term capital investment, such as the purchase or construction of machinery, building, manufacture plants. All these things is recorded in the capital account. Portfolio investment or the foreign portfolio investment is what? Is the short-term capital investing in the financial assets of a foreign country, such as stocks, bonds or other financial assets. It is for short term only, and the other investment are the bank deposits, currency or any kind of other investment. Okay, if you properly want to go through the distinction between FDI and FBI, so definitely this one is the for long term, whereas this is for short term. And in FDI case it is the investment in the physical assets, whereas in portfolio case it is a investment in financial assets. You can write down these differences in your notebook. And FDI aims to increase enterprise capacity or productivity or change management control. Okay, when FDI comes into any country, it actually increases the productive capacity, whereas a portfolio investment aims only to increase the capital availability. It is not going to invest in the say productivity part. It is only increase the capital availability. On the other hand, FDI leads to technology transfer, access to the market and management inputs. The people comes, the machines comes, all these are part of FDI. But foreign portfolio investment result only in capital inflow, only capital comes. Okay, FDI flow into the primary market, whereas foreign portfolio flow into the secondary market. Entry and exit is difficult in case of FDI, whereas entry and exit is relatively easy in case of. Third is official reserve account. Write down. Now what is official account? We must go through the content of official account. The first content is gold. All the transaction of gold is being recorded in this official reserve account. Okay, all gold received will be written down under the receipts part, and all the gold payments, like we have done payments in during 1991 when our economy is going through the crisis. That time whatever the gold we have given to other country as a collateral, and then we are taking loan that time, Bank of England to be very precise. So whatever the gold we have paid on the official reserve account, we have written down in a payment side. Similarly, if any time we have received gold, it has been written in receipt size. Foreign currency, whatever the foreign currency that Reserve Bank of India holds, everything is written in official reserve account receipt side. Whenever they receive, okay, exactly what balance is in the foreign reserve, that is not written in this part. Whatever we have received in a particular financial year, that is only written, we are writing in official reserve account. Reserve position in IMF. Now IMF, when refers to the reserve paid in by the nation upon the joining of IMF. So when we have joined the IMF, we have done certain deposits. So that is the reserve. And that reserve which the nation can borrow automatically and without question asked in case of need. If you have any need, you can take out your reserve part. Membership in IMF allow nations to borrow additional amount also subject to the condition imposed by the IMF. So whatever be the holding reserve position in IMF, if you are changing that reserve position every year, then that part is going to get recorded in under this reserve position in IMF. Now similarly, SDR, special drawing rights, are international reserves created by IMF and allocated to member nations according to their importance in the international trade. It can be used to settle international payments between monetary authority of two different countries. So special drawing rights actually give you say privilege to do trade without any kind of payment hurdles or situations. Okay, so now, if you look upon the special drawing rights more deeply, then SDR is an international reserve asset created by IMF in the year 1969, and it is actually promoted for the to help the member countries. Okay, SDR was initially defined as an equivalent to 0.88 grams of fine gold, which at the time was equivalent to $1. And after the collapse of Bretton Woods system, the SDR was redefined as a basket of currencies now. So today, US dollar, euro, Chinese yuan, Japanese yen, and sterling pound, all these are the part of SDRs. So SDR basket is reviewed after every 5 years, and the value of SDR is based on the basket of these 5 currencies: dollar, euro, yuan, yen, and pound. And one SDR today, if you look, I am giving you data of 2018-19 because that what I have read that time. Today you can search it on Google. So one SDR is now is equivalent to 98 rupees, Indian rupees, 98 or 100 rupees. Okay. Now, so these are the 4 things that is being recorded in official reserve account. Last part is net errors and omissions. So now under this errors and omission, it is a balancing entry and is needed to offset an overstated or understated component due to recording of transaction at different place, different point of time, and different method of evaluation. Because we know that every day there is a change in say foreign current value of foreign currencies. So whatever we need to offset, okay, or understate or overstate any kind of value, so we can make entry in the errors and omission part. So it is a very subjective kind of say part of the balance of payment, because mathematically where the numbers is not able to define something, then this part arises where we can make some entry which have value or adjusting value is there. Say The increase under errors and omission is due to deliberate actions and frequently illegal transactions such as drugs smuggling, money laundering, etc. And you have caught, a country has caught something and they have done any kind of transactions for that, between country to country or between government to government. All these things you can write down into the errors and omission. The fact of the balance of payment accounting system is that balance of payment must have balance. So current account, capital account, errors and omission, official reserve account, all the sum total of all four must be equal to zero. All the receipts and all the payments must be equal to zero. So errors and omission also help you to offset the overstated and understated components. Okay, so let me write. ओके, सो दिस इज़ ऑल अबाउट बैलेंस ऑफ पेमेंट. आप इसको पढ़ लीजिए, रिवाइज कर लीजिएगा, और ये सारी बातें आपको एक्सप्लेन करने को आ सकती हैं, इनमें से क्वेश्चंस आ सकते हैं. दैट्स ऑल फ्रॉम माय साइड. हैव अ नाइस डे. थैंक यू सो मच.